So the telescope was first invented to view, for military purposes, also to survey, looking out at the Earth. However, in 1610, I think 2 or 3 years after the telescope was invented, Galileo and his buddies turned it from the horizontal to the vertical, looking up at the heavens. And in that moment, our world changed. No longer was Earth the center of God's world. As we know, Galileo was jailed by the church for this very reason. They did not like this new view of the universe. However, no matter how much they tried to challenge it, erase it, pretend it didn't exist, that new understanding continues and continued to expand. Well, it seems like the same kind of thing is happening now with our James Webb Telescope. What had been predicted, and the reason that they created this new telescope, was so that they could see back into the beginning of time. They wanted to understand what happened after the Big Bang, because they had very clear understanding that they came up with about what must have happened. I mean, you can read all about what they expected to see, but that's not what they saw at all. Very interestingly. And needless to say, they're trying to explain it now. It's like, oh, well, let's look at the planets that we can see. They're kind of reorienting the mission. You see, the reason we were looking with infrared rays is that they're longer rays than light, than visible light. And so all the little dust particles that the Hubble and other telescopes couldn't see through in our visible light would get bounced out because of the shorter waves, but the longer waves apparently just goes right through that dust. So we can see all of these clearer images that come through in the infrared and go way back, right? Like a billion years after what they think was when the Big Bang happened. Astronomers first saw, they were like blown away. It was like, oh no, my God, oh my God. Instead of these faint galaxies that they thought, or faint stars that they thought they would see, they saw huge light, big light of stars and galaxies. They saw galaxies already, and they didn't expect it would happen that quickly. So suddenly, all of their eyes were seeing something they didn't expect. And now you can read some of this controversy going back. Somebody said, one of the astronomers said, well, maybe the Big Bang didn't happen. And then somebody, no, we're not losing the Big Bang. No, the Big Bang is still it. Well, we will find out, perhaps, but maybe there's a new way, a new understanding, just like what happened with Galileo. There's suddenly a new understanding of what our cosmos is. But you know what I really love? What is really something to contemplate and to meditate on is that these very photons are not, you're not just viewing them through the telescopes. They're actually showing up in my bedroom, on my computer screen, on my cell phone as I walk around. And they're not just pictures, it's YouTube, it's videos of what actually, now think about this, it's actually what those light rays, what actually happened and is happening now still, which will take another 13 billion years to reach us. But that, what we see is actually, we can actually see now that ancient history. We're connected to that ancient history. We're watching that ancient history. And not ancient, it's now, it's happening now. It's in our realm, it's in our present realm. So just like when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and that flat world became a round world, and oceans and continents and peoples, and the whole idea of this world completely transformed. In that same way, we are now, our time has changed. We're now connected to 14 billion years ago or 13.5 billion years ago. It's alive with us now. I know that's hard to take in, but we're living in a different period of time. Living in an expanded period of time. It's something because of, especially with our spiritual teachings now, be in this present moment. But in this very present moment, we are seeing that energy from that electromagnetic waves, that infrared light, or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. I don't call it light. The infrared waves. My eye is seeing it right now. And so the same way is that the DNA inside of me, that DNA inside of you, that goes back to the beginning of humans on this planet. I mean, it actually goes back to the amoebas. It actually goes back to life. It actually goes back to the cosmos. It actually goes, in other words, we are so connected. That DNA inside of me that has been developing from our ancestors and our ancient ancestors, it's there now still. Transferred from generation to generation, still existing inside of me. So maybe it's really important that we understand as much as we can of the ancient world, because that's alive inside of us. And as Jung would say, it's in our psychology. It's in the way we understand, we humans understand and relate to this world. It's not history. History is what happened in the past, but it's alive with us now. And it's really interesting because you see, even on TV and in books, they're bringing those things out like Outlander or Harry Potter or some of the Vikings. All of those ancient worlds are alive with us and in us. And the more we understand that, the more we'll know who we are. When I first came to Hawaii, I remember a kahuna said, he said, like a tree is connected to the earth through its roots, receiving those elements and that water and that power and that strength. So if you're not connected to your roots, to that ancient world that lives within you today, you're weak. You don't have the richness of that soul power coming through. So the more you find out about your ancestry or the ancestry of this world, there's so much that we can learn from understanding that. And because in today's world, we have to save this earth. And part of saving it is saving all its history and understanding who we are, where we come from, who you are, who I am. So we truly are in a new world. Everything that we've ever known growing up with is changing. Science fiction is now passe. When I look at Star Trek, I have to laugh. Elon Musk is taking us to Mars, creating rocket ships that go and come. He plans on 1 million people being put on Mars. boldly go where no man has gone before. Now, right? Ahuyo.